Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 8th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery with the Doppler radars overlaid, and you can see that we've got some shower activity across southwest Washington towards the coastal range, moving into some of the foothills across Oregon, Washington, hopefully bringing a few inches of snowfall for the higher terrain. There's actually some shower activity across some of the Puget Sound and North Puget Sound this morning. I think I saw a snow pellet shower out there in social media this morning as well, and we're going to continue some of the slight precipitation across some areas. There actually is a winter weather advisory across some of the Blue Mountains. We'll look at that, and some precipitation to be had across northeast Washington, Idaho, and Montana. Trying to squeeze a few inches out here when times are tough. This is looking at the mid-level water vapor loop, and we're kind of in this northwest flow right now. You can see the stronger storm out towards the Aleutian Islands helping with that northwest flow. And then this system's going to be moving through British Columbia here as we go towards the end of the week and in towards the weekend here. A little bit of a better chance of some snow developing across some of British Columbia here and maybe in down to the Washington Cascades. We'll look at that here in a moment. And you can also see the storm that went through California yesterday, kind of spinning over southern Nevada and western Arizona. Also, Portland thought enough of the sneaker wave threat to put this out this morning at 7:40 a.m. This goes all the way through this weekend. So heads up, do not turn your back on the ocean. Watch out when you bring your children or your pets into the surf zone out there. You guys know the drill, and just consider this advisory all the way up the Washington coast into British Columbia as well at this time of year. Here's the light snow tonight through Friday. This is Lookout Pass, sections of US 95 and Stevens Pass. This is the National Weather Service Spokane, and slushy accumulations elsewhere, and not much for the lower elevations of eastern Washington. Of course, this is mainly a higher terrain deal. This is the mountain snow down in towards the Blue Mountains, and check it out. This is from 7 p.m. this evening to 1 p.m. Friday, mainly above 4,000 feet. But look at that, 3 to 6 inches. We'll take what we can get during an El Nino year, right? Looking at the winter weather advisory, you can see that this does include the Blue Mountains down here as well. Just want to kind of show you the actual diagram there. Looking at widespread light valley snow and moderate mountain snow from this evening through Friday, Idaho, northwest Montana here, 1 to 2 inches for the valleys here, and a little bit better across the higher terrain. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, click on that link down below to save 10% off. It's a very attractive unit. It's got solar powered and wireless, ultrasonic anemometer, haptic rain gauge. And when you click on your smartphone or your tablet or your desktop, you can see all of this information. You can click on individual temperature and barometric pressure, and you can look at all the graphs that it creates and whatnot. So yeah, highly recommend the station. Very fun to watch when the weather starts rolling into your house. Looking at the European, this is hot off the presses, the 12Z run. If we put this into motion, you can see a little bit of light snow across the Cascades, and then we pick it up tonight across the Blue Mountains there, Idaho and Montana here. Then this next system here looks like a little bit of a better snowmaker here for British Columbia. Weak low pressure right off of Vancouver Island by the time we get towards Sunday, very early morning here. And again, trying to bring some of that down into the Washington Cascades here in the Rockies of BC. A little bit of a clip there for northwest Idaho and actually North Idaho and northwest Montana, but maybe even another shot down towards the Blue Mountains and maybe a little bit for the Oregon Cascades. But nothing looking too great as of yet. And we start scrolling way off into the forecast. And this next frontal system, there's going to be some cooler air dropping down here as well. So they could even start as snow briefly for like Bellingham or Vancouver, BC, but nothing really worth getting excited about. I mean, this could change in future forecasts coming up. But then as we scroll off into the extended a little bit more, you can see a bit of some more vigorous frontal systems trying to get back into the Pacific Northwest here. How much snow would that bring to the Washington, Oregon Cascades? Still yet to be seen. We're looking way off into fantasy land. We're just kind of hoping and praying out here in the future at this point. Looking at the positive snow depth changes in inches on the European. Again, trying to squeeze out a few inches of this system here. And then Blue Mountains, Idaho, Montana. Then the better snowmaker here comes for British Columbia as we scroll on into the weekend. So hopefully squeeze out maybe a foot for some of the higher terrain here and bring some snow out to the BC Rockies then. And again, we could get a decent shot out of that for the Washington Cascades. And by decent, I mean, 3-6 inches or so. Then if you go up into the extended, you can see maybe some more snowfall showing up out there. But, no big typical Pacific Northwest snow machine showing up in any of the forecasts just yet. This is the SnowTel as of today. This is Oregon, below average for much of the state, still above average for southeast here. But again, most of the snow water equivalent is across the Cascade Mountains here, where we are slightly below average. Washington not doing quite as well. The Olympic Mountains, less than a third of what they normally are. And we did go back up above 50% for the North Puget Sound here, but still not great. This is Idaho, and you can see the southern portions are doing pretty well. But again, the north portions well below normal, and same same thing for western Montana. This is looking at the Climate Prediction Center. So I want to show you the 6 to 10 day, kind of the above average signal here across some of the West Coast. This goes through February 17th, the 8 to 14 day, something similar there as well, all the way through the 21st. Now, if we look at the 6 to 10 day precipitation, again, through February 17th here, and that below average signal here in California starts to get targeted a little bit here, but we do have the potential to bring a couple frontal systems in here. So this may change over the next couple of days. We'll see how that goes. However, the 8 to 14 day, all the way through the 24th, still with that below average signal there. And you can see California clearly targeted. But again, we still have the chance. We're going to be watching that day by day. Now, this was issued February 2nd. And look at this temperature outlook here for much of the West Coast. Clearly above average. And the precipitation not looking too hot here through the second half of February for Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and British Columbia. And if you're going off in the backcountry here, actually a kind of a rare low here across the low risk, I should say, for avalanche danger across the Washington Cascades. Some moderate still across Oregon. And if you go down into Idaho here, you can see some high risk, and there's some avalanche warnings there out there near Yellowstone as well. But yeah, so we'll just continue to watch the forecast coming up here. At least there is some signs of life through the extended forecast in a week plus time frame. So we'll continue to watch that, break it down day by day, start to get some storms back in here if we're lucky. What else? Yeah, I guess we will just do this again tomorrow in the normal briefing. We'll check out what's to come, and I will talk to you guys then.